Okay, hello everyone. Let's begin with the webinar. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for being here today and mention that we are recording the session so that those who were not able to attend the webinar will be able to watch it in the future. My name is Borja Guillén. I am the account manager of the solutions department in Innova, and the objective of this session is to introduce our solution in Translate, belonging to our suite InTools, show its functionality through a demo, and also explain our external translation functionality, which can be very useful when translating our developments. So, this is the agenda we're going to cover. First, we will provide a brief introduction of our company and our and also our website. Then we will introduce our solution and its functionality. And then we will give some time for you to forward any question or doubt you may have during the session. But now, let's provide a brief introduction of our company. Innova is one of the few Microsoft ISV development centers worldwide, and it's the only one speaking Spanish. We provide services for both finance and operations and also Business Central, including our own solutions, which are supported by these ERPs. Our headquarters are established in Castellón, Spain, and our team is formed by more than 50 professionals with over 17 years of experience. As aforementioned, we offer our own solutions, which are divided into suites. One of them is the suite eSign, whose main feature is the digital signature. Within this suite, we may find eSign Facturar, available for both Business Central and Financial Operation, and this solution is able to generate and sign digital invoices. On the other hand, we may find eSign ePDF, which is available for Business Central. In this case, this solution is able to digitally sign any PDF file. Nonetheless, these solutions will be deeply explained in another webinar. And on the other hand, the suite InTools includes InTranslate, InData Manager, and InSell Setup, and InApps Analyzer. Today, we will focus on InTranslate, and we will deal with an explanation of the solution, and right after, we will proceed with the demo of InTranslate and also the external translation. But let's focus now on the explanation of the solution. And as you may know, InTranslate is able to easily create XLF files in any language available. It also provides a fluent maintenance and update of the translation and process an automatized service of translation. Okay. Regarding the translation portal, it's an exclusive functionality of our solution, which will allow the user to send the translation of the development to a trusted third party to verify or complete the translation of the project. For example, if I'm working for a German version of our solution and I need assistance to verify the accuracy of the translations, I can send the lines to our portal, and a trusted partner or a translator that I just hired will be able to review and correct them. Okay. But now let's show you now our Innova online website, which is crucial when setting up and managing the solution. So in the main visual interface of the site, you may find all the solutions provided by our company. And we go into each solution. Let's go now into InTranslate. Okay, the web page will display an introduction and a thorough tutorial of the solution. Also, the user will be able to analyze the different plans available, like right here. It is also important that all our solutions can be downloaded on Microsoft's Marketplace App Stores, and only by registering our site you will be able to test them, to utilize them. But now I'm going to log in with a real account for you to see what can you expect when downloading our solution. Okay. So here, that's the customer. I am the customer ID. And it is essential since afterwards we will have to introduce it in the setup wizard. Also, in the visual interface, we can also check which solutions we have available in our user. And if we go into each solution again, let's go into InTranslate. Let me just switch the language right here. We have the hire plan, the recommended plan according to the usage we are doing of that solution, some sort of information regarding the lines, and also we can find a download link for each of the solutions. Okay, let's go back. So now let's get into the demo. Okay, let me refresh it. Okay. Okay. So regarding InTranslate, very quickly. In previous versions of Navision, we had to use the caption ML to do the translations in different languages. But in this updated version in Business Central, the translations are done using a XLIF file. Therefore, through a XLIF file generated by the system, if we wanted to do a translation in different languages, we should create these files each time with a different language. So our solution is able to do exactly this, but in quite a simpler way. Through the same original file, we'll be able to generate the translated ones. So once we have downloaded our solution from the app source and we have completed the register in our site, the user will have its customer ID, as I have shown you, which is going to be necessary when setting up the solution. Thus, the first thing to work on is the configuration of the application. Okay, let's go to setup and the general setup. And right here in our line setup, in this configuration menu, we will need to introduce the customer ID. And once we have done that, we will need to set up the languages. In this case, we have to complete this setup if it's the first time that we are using if we are using a solution from Innova. So now let's set up the languages. Okay, let's go to assisted setup. And now InTranslate. Where is it? Here. Okay, we have completed it, but I want just to show you. Again, we have to introduce the customer ID, and we also have a button to register in case we just want to complete the whole process in our environment. We can do it like here, and then we have to set up the languages. In this case, it is shown in green because I have completed already the setup. But the very first time that we get into this interface, we will need to set up the different languages that we are going to utilize. In order to set up these languages, we need to introduce the ISO code accordingly to the language we want to utilize. And once this configuration is completed, we can start to do the translations. But first, let me show you that, for example, if I don't want to set up each language one by one, I can just go to Actions and here update the ISO codes. And if there's any other language which is not shown in this list, we can just add it right here. We just need the code, the ID, which is the standard from Business Central, and again the ISO code. So now we have the languages set up, so we can start to do the translations. Okay, but how does this work? When we own a solution, a XLF file is produced, which is composed by several nodes. These nodes are referencing all the captions, tooltips, or labels of our solution. Therefore, through these captions, tooltips, or labels, a XLF file is created. If we want to do the translation of this, theoretically, we should copy this file, generate a new one, and modify its target, adding a new node to do the translations. Our solution can do all this process, but automatically. Okay. So the first step is to get into the translations, and then several actions will be displayed. Among these actions, update captions, load translation file, and create translation files should be highlighted since they are quite important, and we are going to use it in a demo. Okay, so let's imagine that we want to generate a translation file for one of our solutions. So we don't really have a translation done yet, hence we're going to use the update captions tool. Okay, this tool is going to ask for the language in which we want to do the translation. For example, I'm going to choose Spanish. Where is it? Okay, come on, here. And now it's going to ask for the base translation file, the one that the system is going to automatically generate. And once it is imported, okay, when we import it, it will create some lines in which we can start to function. But the information that to be found in this section is the nodes, the language, the caption, and also the translate caption tool. In this latter part, we will add the translation from which the translation file will be generated. So to make a demonstration, okay, I'm going to fill in the information. Okay, I can do it myself real quick. Okay, I'm going. Okay. Like this. So we are ready now to create a translation file using the functionality create translation file. So the system will inform us that the file is going to be created, and then again we have to introduce the language code. Again, Spanish. Here. And after that, we will have to import the base translation file, since from this one, the additional translation files will be generated. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so once the file is created, we can save it. The system will suggest a name according to the solution and the language. In this case, the name of the solution is All Project Test and the language is Spanish. I'm going to save it. Okay. And now we can check in our application that a new translation file with a different target has been created, like this. Name, nombre, mi primer test. So this new file includes the original target and the new translated one, which is what we needed in order to generate our translation file. You can see the source language and the target language, like that. Okay. Let me just remove these lines to show another example. Okay, so another functionality we can use is, say we already have a solution with its translation, as for example this case, but we want to do some modifications. Instead of doing them manually here, we can load the translation file. Okay, let's do it. Load translation file. When loading it, the system is claiming that if we have any data, it will be erased. So once again, I have to introduce the language code, Spanish, but this time I have to import the translation file, okay, since I'm going to modify it. Okay, there's one. All right. So now the file is already loaded, and if we want to do any modification, it is necessary to generate a new translation file. Okay, let me just, for example, do some modifications, something very useful. Okay, like this, for example. And now I can just create a new translation file. Okay, I just have to input the code, again, Spanish. and here. And again, the base translation file. Okay, so it's really important to mention that, because since from that base translation file, all the different files will be created. That's why we have to import it. You have to import it every time. Okay, let's do it. Now we can just save it. Okay. Yes, I want to overwrite it. And if we come to our tool, we can see that the modifications have been done. Okay, like this. It's very, very, very easy. Very easy. Okay. Again, let me just remove the line so I can show you another example. Okay, another modality available is, for example, if we want to select a different language of the aforementioned. The process to follow would be quite similar. I mean, we don't have the translations done for any other language. What we want to use is a completely new language. Therefore, we can use the update captions tool. In this case, we will have to select the new language. Let's say, for example, Italian. And again, we have to import the base translation file. Okay. Once this is done, the system will create new lines for the Italian version, but it is necessary that we fulfill these new translations. So through the actions menu, we may find a functionality that can translate them automatically. I can't do it on my own because this time I don't know any Italian, so I need some assistance like this tool, which will translate all these lines automatically. So we have to introduce the language code, okay, the solution name, in this case, all project. Now, all these lines that are untranslated will be translated accordingly to Microsoft Azure's translating system. So the translations have already been done. Now we can generate the translation system, the translation file. Okay, let's create it. Again, the language code, Italian. And again, the base translation file, like this. I'm gonna save it. And now I have the file for the Italian language, like this, the source and the target. Okay, name, nome, il mio primo test, okay. So let's go to the role center. In the role center interface, a detailed information about the usage is going to be displayed. For example, the lines we have in our solution, whether they are translated or not, and also in which solution these translations are included. Okay, just like this. Besides, in info translations, we will be able to select specific lines that should not be translated. Also, check some developers' kind of comments, and specify the amount of characters to utilize in a translation. This section is regarding the external translation, which is divided also in the amount, well, total translation that we have sent to our portal, the ones that we have currently open, the ones that are sent, in process, completed, blocked, and rejected. So let's focus now on the translation portal functionality, okay? So generally, what this tool does is, for example, if we are doing a translation of a development and we want a trusted third party to verify or complete the translations, we can send our project, our lines, to our portal, and that translator or partner will be able to complete the process. So we have to get into the line. For example, I'm going to take again the Italian as an example. And we have to go through actions, create external translation. Okay, we have to introduce the language code here, and again the solution name. Okay. Now if we refresh the page, we go to the open section, and we will have to input the email and the contact for that specific project. For example, the email I'm going to fill in again of the person who is going to verify the translations. Okay, again I'm going to put my own. And the person to contact in case there is any error or any mistake of we have any problem with the solutions. Okay, the contact name. Like this. And now we can just send it to the portal. Okay. Let's just wait a bit. When the process is completed, okay, we will receive an email confirming the details. Okay, let's just wait a couple of minutes. Okay, like this. So we receive an email confirming the details and also a link to access to these translations. Okay, let's just get into it. So we just have to get to this page, and the main interface will display any information such as the name of the project, okay, the language, the status, the number of lines, if these lines are translated or not, and whether they are reviewed or not. Okay, I'm just going to switch the language again. But in order to get into the lines, I need to request an access code. Okay, I'm going to do so. This code will be sent to my email. Let's just check it. And here it is. I'm going to input it. Let's go. Okay, now again I can see the information displayed, such as the name of the project, the language, the lines, whether they are translated or not, if they are reviewed, and the lines, the captions to be translated or reviewed. Okay. So in this case, the status is open. If we want to complete the modifications or review these lines, we have to change it to in process. So every time that we do a modification in the status, the system will send an email to the contact name informing that the status is being modified. In this case, we are going to, in this case, we are doing the translations. So okay, I'm the translator, and I can start to function. For example, this caption is translated as ID. Okay, I can see that that's correct. This one is also correct. My second test, okay, that translation is accurate. But now, for example, I say, in this case, this translation is not really accurate. I'm going to do some modifications, for example. Okay, I can save it, and once I save it, it is also moved to the reviewed section. Okay, like this. And finally, name stands as no name. Okay, that's fair enough. Now I finished my job, and I can just move the status to completed. Okay, it will also inform the contact name, in this case the person which is in contact, that the translations have been reviewed and the status is now finished. It is completed. So now I, as a developer, will come to Business Central. Okay, I'm going to again refresh the page. Should be moved to completed. Okay. And I can just check the translations, for example. Okay, I'm going to review translations. And for example, so this is the caption to be translated. Okay, this is the caption that we translated automatically. And now, in this column, we can see the caption that we received through the portal. As you can see, in green, we can find the captions that match the initial translation, but the one in red does not match it. Okay, so I'm going to check whether this translation is accurate. And I, for example, say, in this case, this translation is not really accurate. I prefer the one that I have done automatically. So I'm just going to modify it. I can modify it and then save the translations. It is also important to mention that if I don't do any modification of these lines and I go straight to save translation, the translations that would prevail are the ones that we received through the portal. So that's also important to bear in mind, that we have to check these translations. So now I'm going to save it. And I'm going to save the translations. Okay. So now I just have to come to the lines and create the translation file. That's it. Very simple. So overall, this is what our solution is able to do right now. There are further functionalities available, which are defined in the help section of the solution. But if you have any additional doubt or concern, you can now use our chat to notify them. Okay. So I'm just going to give you some minutes. If you have any question about just don't want to forward it now, you can just send the question to my email, and I will gladly aid you in anything I can. So in the meantime, I find essential to remind you that InTranslate can be freely downloaded at App Stores, and it can also be installed in a Docker. In our webpage in Online, you can find the download link for our solution. Okay, in case you want to complete the register process and just test the solution, you can do it like that. And I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes, okay, for you to forward any question. Okay, one of the questions is that if we can use the external translation functionality using the free trial. Okay, yes, in this case, you can always use the translation portal. Okay, that functionality can be used with any plan available, but you have to bear in mind that if you are using the free trial, you will be limited to specific lines. Okay, so if we are using this functionality, we're going to be limited to the lines that we have hired. Okay, that's important to bear in mind. Okay, I'm just going to wait one more minute for you to forward any question. Okay, so if you don't have any other question, we can finish the session. So we hope you found the webinar useful, and we are looking forward to hearing from you soon. Again, thank you very much for being here today, and see you next time.